Fine. Hey, welcome to the Randy Karraker Show featuring Brooke Grimsley and Matthew Rocchio. And Sports Hub STL is presented by DraftKings. The crown is yours. Hi, Brooke.
Good morning. It's not just going to rain. It is raining.
It's raining
right now.
hard.
We are second alert weather. Well, third alert, and sometimes fourth.
Yeah. But we're alerting you at some point.
At some point, we will alert you about the weather. So just double checking. Give me 1 second here. Okay. Yeah, it's going to rain all day.
Oh, that's not good. No bike rides today. No golf today for Randy.
Oh, no. But it looks like it'll be great this weekend.
It's going to be fabulous.
It will be fabulous.
I'm playing in a golf tournament on Saturday, by the way, to benefit Folds of Honor. So I'm looking forward to that.
Nice. Over at Whitmore?
This tournament is going to take place at Spencer Teolin over in Alton, Illinois.
Oh, okay.
Should be a great day.
I'll pretend like I know where that is.
It's in Alton, Illinois.
Okay, that's it. Yeah. I'm still not familiar with all the golf courses that people go to around here.
Don't worry about that. So
yeah,
I'll guide you.
Yes, I have a funny story to tell you guys this morning. I teased this, and sorry, Rocchio, it was me. I made a mistake where I was playing the YouTube video at the same time that we were live. So. Funny story this morning. Well, it was almost tragic. Okay. So today is trash day in our neighborhood. And my husband happened to be out at the same time as our neighbor who was taking out his trash. And he said, "Hey, Dave, look at this." And then he holds up a trap with a chipmunk in it, a live chipmunk. Okay.
Oh.
All right. Because it was a humane trap. The chipmunk had been bothering them. It like chewed through their drywall. So he tried to humanely trap it. So we thought. Then he was like, "Oh," David was like, "Oh, that's really cool." And then he goes to put it in the trash can. He was like, "Yep, finally getting rid of this thing." And then goes to put it in the trash can. And David's like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa. What are you doing? What are you doing?" And he was like, "What? You know, they'll just take it to the junkyard. I'm sure there's like a forest nearby and it will run out." And David was like, "No, like, you know that they crush things in the garbage truck, right? Like they don't just throw the bags in there, like things get crushed in there." And and he was like, "So what do I do with this thing?" And he was like, "You got to let it go somewhere else. That's the point of the humane trap that you bought, is that you have to then take it somewhere else far away from your house and then let it go and be free." And so we now have a chipmunk at our house because David took it.
Oh, that's nice.
And so David's going to drop it off when it starts raining at some point over at Queenie Park.
Oh, that's great.
So we'll have a beautiful new home. It almost had a violent ending this morning.
Really. That would have been like something from The Sopranos.
Yeah, I felt really bad.
Remember when the guy's head got run over at the end?
Oh, Randy.
I'm just throwing that out there. Yeah, one time we had a fox that snuck into the garage. That's a bad thing because they don't like to leave.
Really?
And so we had to have
somebody come animal control.
It wasn't animal control. We had to pay like $500 to get it taken out of the garage, and they said they took it to Bowling Green. Well, I'm not sure, to turn it loose there.
I'm sure it's living a great life out there.
I'm sure it is. Yeah.
But I don't know. Like, I'm not trying to shame. You know, people don't know what they don't know.
Exactly. But it'll be fine.
But at the same time, he was literally about to put a chipmunk in a whole trap into the trash can and thought it was just going to go live a happy life at the junkyard.
And chipmunks are cute. I know they cause havoc.
Cute.
Yeah, but they are cute.
Yeah, Stevie
That's
was
so
going
dark.
Nuts. Stevie was going bananas this morning whenever she saw it.
It's not for us, it's for our father.
Yeah, but yeah, it was about to get crushed. I thought a lot of people knew that the trash truck doesn't just take the full bags. It just it smushes it. So that would have been really bad for that chipmunk. So we now have a little chipmunk at our house.
Well, congratulations.
Wait, thank you.
Are you going to name it Chip?
Alvin.
We
already named it Alvin this morning.
Where is it being kept?
We just have it outside, like on our porch currently right now. We have a covered porch, and so it's out there on the porch.
Good. And a little stripe and everything.
Stevie's going to break through the back door.
Oh, she's going nuts. Yeah, she's going nuts
through the back door.
They can become best friends.
Yeah.
She's going to break through the back door.
You can always adopt it.
I don't know if it would survive long around Stevie, because Stevie, she was a murderer in her past. She didn't know better.
Again,
she found bunnies in her backyard one time, and I came out to a complete massacre.
Is somebody
which was terrifying.
at home? I'm
David's at home.
Okay,
yeah,
I'm legitimately worried he's going to be working at the computer and he's just going to hear a crash, and Stevie will have busted through a window to get to this chipmunk.
Stevie, by the way, not convicted of that murder. Quite innocent.
It really, I mean, she was young and, you know, she hadn't gone through training yet, but it really took me a minute to look at her as my sweet little puppy dog again, because what I had to witness out there, I was crying and I was like, David, you have to get rid of these bunnies. I can't see this anymore, because I love watching the little bunnies in the backyard.
Admit
That she's a murderer.
That she's a murderer is what you're doing.
She's a convicted murderer.
Join the chat if you have a pet that's a convicted murderer. What about the 19-19 Cardinals?
Hey, look at that. Back to 500 once again.
Brooke,
I don't know why anybody has ever doubted the Cardinals.
I've mentioned this before, and I just want you to know, 1985, Wednesday, May 22nd. Schedule was a little bit different, but they were 19-19 on May 22nd. The 1985 Cardinals. Yeah,
we're still doing this. We're still doing that comparison.
We are. Same record. How can
you also said before that this is probably just going to be a 500 team?
I think that's probably what it's going to be, but that's what I thought about that team too.
Were you saying the same thing around that time?
Yeah.
What about the pitching staff between these two teams?
I think there's a slight difference.
Comparisons there
between these two teams?
I'm just talking about the pitching staff.
Oh,
seems like it was pretty important in 1985.
Did you see Sonny Gray dealing yesterday?
Yep. Yeah, we there are a ton of similarities. We're just waiting. We're just waiting. I mean, Sonny Gray yesterday was fantastic. So I see where you're going there. Just the 7 shutout innings for Sonny, allowing only 2 hits and striking out 8. Yeah. By the way, I will point out that John Tudor that year, 1985, started off 1-7. And then bounce back. So a lot of good things happen for that team. And a lot of good things are happening for this team. Brooke, you look at the 5-game winning streak, and I will grant you that it's against the Pirates, but it's also against people who have made it to the major leagues. So it's not like pitching against St. Mary's or CBC. I'll throw CBC out there because Matthew's a CBC guy.
Oh, okay.
It's not like Sonny Gray's pitching against CBC, which is a good program.
This is major league talent. Now, the Pirates have been really struggling a lot going into the series. Not to take anything away from that, what you're talking about.
5-game winning streak, and that includes a couple of games against the Mets. Cardinals have allowed 13 runs in the 5 games. Starters have gone 27 1/3 and allowed 11 of those runs for a 3.62 earned run average. The bullpen, the much maligned bullpen, has pitched 17 2/3 innings during the streak and allowed 2 runs for a 1.02 earned run average in the last 5 games, including the last 15 1/3 that have been scoreless.
The bullpen was a huge issue, it felt like, for this team. And I think Fernandez was a big part of that. I'm glad that they've sent him down so that he could be able to work out some of those kinks, because doing that at the major league level is not hard as a pitcher. That's what we were discussing. And I know that Ollie mentioned this too. Do you let him work it out just like the position players, where you're giving these players runway? Pitchers, it's a different story though.
Right. And he can go and get fixed. It's hard to get fixed when you're throwing 5 pitches and allowing a couple of home runs at the major league level.
And some the high
pressure
leverage situations.
Right. And there theoretically should not be a high leverage situation when you're pitching in AAA, and they're trying to fix you. They're trying to develop you.
It's a confidence thing.
Yeah.
Just like what you saw with Roycroft, give these guys a little bit of a chance to go down the minors, fix it, come back. And maybe Fernandez could be the guy that we saw a lot last season. And I think that's what they were hoping this year.
I wonder if he's been passed up. You know, reading Katie Wu's piece in The Athletic this morning, seems like he's kind of been passed up by Gordon Graceffo. Seems like they're set on Graceffo being a bullpen guy for them in high leverage situations.
And that's what you want to see with Gordon Graceffo. That's what we're hoping to see. And maybe eventually next season too, they could look at him being a starter, because we discussed that yesterday, is what is Gordon Graceffo's role with this team? Because I believe he's 27 or 26.
Yeah, I think he's 26.
He might be around that range. And so if we're talking about giving players runway, what exactly would be Gordon Graceffo's role this year? Bullpen, but maybe in the future, part of the starting rotation?
And even maybe part of the rotation, but even when he was a part of the system, high level part of the system, like minor league pitcher of the year part, people in the organization told me that he's still profiled as a relief pitcher.
Yeah.
So maybe that's where he best fits. Now, another thing that's similar to 1985 is having a young speedster. How about Victor Scott II yesterday?
I love watching Victor Scott II.
Isn't he fun to watch play?
I know that we keep talking about what brings fans to the ballpark. If you're going to go pay money to go watch this team at Busch Stadium, it's young players like Victor Scott II. His speed that he's been able to show off has been such a fun part of this season that we've seen so far, but also that series.
And he said that yesterday was the first time in his entire baseball career that he'd ever scored from first twice in the same game. And Mason Wynn with a couple of doubles. And man, can Victor run? Victor has to be one of the fastest guys in baseball, right? His high school colleague, and they played in college, and they were teammates in the little leagues. Chandler, whatever his name is for Tampa, rookie Wilson. You should know this. The kid for Tampa, he can fly, and so he and Victor Scott, I think, are the two fastest guys in Major League Baseball right now.
I heard like a little voice from another room that was chiming in. You said what, Joe?
Simpson. Chandler yes. Simpson. There you go. Yeah, he can run.
Yeah,
and so can Victor Scott. As a matter of fact, they're the same speed. They raced each other, and they're just as fast as each other.
And that's the whole purpose of what we were talking about going into the season. Is we were hoping that Ollie Marmol would let these guys show off their speed, show off their athleticism. Victor Scott II, I think, was a surprise, honestly, during spring training. Of maybe they thought that he would be eventually ready at some point this season, but that he wouldn't push the fact where you'd have to have him on your opening day roster. And a lot of people are like, oh, are we going to go through what we saw last season where maybe he wasn't fully ready yet for the majors? You can tell the work that Victor Scott II put in this offseason, and he is 100% ready at the major league level. And it's great to see because this just makes it even more of an athletic team. You talk about Mason Wynn. You talk about some of these other guys. Victor Scott II definitely in that conversation. And I'm glad that you're able to have this young, really fast team, and I hope they continue to maximize that.
At what point do you give him, Victor Scott, a spot near the top of the lineup? He's got a 359 on base. He obviously can run. They've given him the green light to steal. And I know that they love Lars at the top of the order, but Nootbaar, even though his average is dropping, I think still could be your number 3 hitter. I think if you had a Scott, Wynn, Nootbaar as your 1, 2, 3, that could be lethal. And talk about athletic. That'd be really something. Well,
when you're setting the table, right, you want those speedy guys at the top, the guys who can get on base, and Victor Scott II is doing that. So I wouldn't have a problem with that whatsoever.
Right. And then the red hot Jordan Walker could hit 4th.
Randy.
He had a base hit yesterday.
He did. I was going to say, he had that yesterday.
And who else is hitting
what
that?
What are you trying to do with Jordan Walker? Are you trying to send him down?
Why do you got to poke the bear? That's what you're doing.
He's hot.
You're poking the bear.
Is he not hot right now?
No, he's not.
Isn't he 1 for 1? Isn't he batting 1,000 in his most recent play?
I reject your small sample size.
Oh, okay.
It's not real. And therefore,
so what do you want to do with
reject
Jordan
everything
Walker,
you're saying
Randy?
right now.
Our buddy Greg Amsinger makes a great point. He said, you've got these guys that have basically done one thing their entire life. They've hit 2nd, 3rd, 4th. And then all of a sudden you bring them up to the majors and you tell them they can't hit. Same thing happened with Jackson Holiday.
Oh, come on.
And so Jackson Holiday is hitting 9th, and then they move him up to number 2 in the order, and boom, he turns it on. I have every reason to believe that if a guy is seeing better pitches and in a better spot in the batting order, that he'll perform at a higher level. You don't think so?
I just think that you have to prove. I mean, isn't there a meritocracy aspect of you have to prove who you are as a hitter to be a 3, 4, 5 hitter in the Major League Baseball?
Is he not their best prospect since Albert Pujols?
Oh, no, we're not doing this again. Come on, John Mozela.
Isn't that meritocracy at play right there? Didn't he show? We were told by the professionals.
Yes, but
it was us media members who were really hyping it up. I thought some people thought that.
No, Bo was saying that.
I know, but remember some people were saying we were the ones who were putting that on him.
I know you have tongue firmly planted in cheek right now, but to be 100% objective about it.
It was a nice visual.
You're welcome. The aspect of the conversation around a prospect. I'm not looking at you right now. The conversation around a prospect and before their major league debut, and 2 years later, after we've seen the issue he has, are completely different conversations.
So let's take a look at this then from a logical standpoint. Here we are, a couple days in. By the way, if you didn't see, Nolan Arenado missed yesterday's game with back spasms. I think he's had him before yesterday, though. How long do you think he's had him, Matthew?
About a week back.
There you go. Thanks.
See, look, you just gave right into that.
So
as soon as I saw it yesterday, I knew it was going to happen.
So why not? Because we are in a runway year. We are in a prove-it year. Why not? Because he's hot. Hit him 4th tomorrow in Washington.
You really want to do that?
Why not?
Stop.
Why?
I'm not letting you. I'm not going to let you get away with still saying that he's hot.
Why are you telling me no?
Because the 1 for 1 isn't a thing.
Okay, but leave a 1 for 1 out of it. He's been a middle of the lineup hitter his entire life.
Because you don't win games away, and now is not the time to screw with
So you think they're going to win the World Series?
You were the one comparing them to the 1985 team.
No, I just said they had the same record as the 1985
You were
team.
the one doing that.
Oh, because there's no other Cardinal team in the last 30 years that has started the season 20-20.
The 04 team. Okay.
Yes. Randy, you're the one who's insinuating this is the 1985 team reincarnated.
He's gonna make me go back and find that like the 2016 team was 20-20 just to disprove this entire narrative.
Let's talk about development though, because I think Greg makes a really good point. You throw these guys into a completely different situation than they've ever been at. They've always been the best guy, and they've always been in the middle of the lineup. And some guys, like when the Cardinals brought Vince Coleman up in 1985, he was a leadoff hitter. They hit him leadoff, and he won Rookie of the Year. Sometimes guys are just comfortable in the spot that they've always hit. And there's no doubt, sorry, analytics people, that pitchers, because if you talk to any pitcher who's ever pitched in Major League Baseball, pitchers will pitch you differently if you have somebody that's a threat behind you in the lineup. We'll get Brad Thompson on sometime to talk about this. How if you have Nolan Arenado or Wilson Contreras hitting behind you, it's going to be different than if you have Nolan Gorman hitting behind you.
That's true. Now, I'm also thinking about, too, a little bit earlier in the season when Wilson Contreras was scuffling a little bit and people wanted him moved down in the lineup, or they wanted him moved into a different position.
Or to a different team.
Well, that too. Maybe is that where you're going with it too? But they kind of let him work through it at that spot that they had him in.
Yeah. And he's Ollie thinks that Wilson Contreras ultimately would be the Cardinals' best number 2 hitter, which is also an interesting thing to do with the lineup, because he would, in his ideal world, I think Marmol would like to have Nootbaar and Contreras 1-2, where I'm talking about putting your speed up at the top of the lineup.
I think the speed would be great. And some people pointed out too, I know that Bill Doughton mentioned this on the chat before yesterday, Nootbaar was 2 for 27 at the leadoff spot. Kind of scuffling, but then he did well yesterday. Yeah,
he did. And I just think that he's a guy, and Brendan Donovan is too. You can put them anywhere in the lineup and they're going to be representative for you. But I'm not so sure that Jordan, maybe ultimately Jordan Walker winds up, if he reaches his ceiling as a major leaguer, being a number 6 hitter. But I just think that you've got to, if you're going to give guys opportunities, then you got to give them opportunities.
Yeah.
Because when he reaches his ceiling, if he reaches his ceiling, is he going to be a number 7 hitter? Number 8 hitter?
Probably not.
You hope not.
No, because that's not the plan that they want with Jordan Walker.
Right. So, but he did have a 2-run single yesterday that broke the game open. Cardinals weren't able to get us 60-cent drinks today. Apologize for that on behalf of the Cardinals. But a lot of good things happened on that recent homestand, and they're dominant at home. No team in baseball has more home wins than your St. Louis Cardinals.
I wanted to bring up these two chats from Bachhog, and I'll get in the bubble and make people happy. Bachhog, on one hand, it's Marmol's job to try to win every game. If Walker hitting 2, 3, 4 isn't the best chance to win, he needs to move. And here's why the dichotomy of thought with the Cardinals this year is so tricky, because he follows that up. But if the Cardinals are using the big league team to do AAA's job, aka develop hitters, then just put him in the 3 spot. And the interesting thing here is that I'm usually the one saying just use this year to develop young players, which would agree with your process. And you're the one saying they might be able to compete at the deadline, win some games. So we've switched roles in this discussion, Randy, and that's why this is so confusing.
I think once reality strikes, and reality does happen, unfortunately, and you aren't playing the Pirates at home. You talk about the perfect storm for the Cardinals. Playing the Pirates at home is the perfect storm for the Cardinals. I think this team has a chance to get better, but they can play way better than they did at home against the Pirates next week in Philadelphia and get smoked in all 3 games.
You have to play better on the road. That's what we were talking about. Is that you have to be able to play.
And ultimately, another thing I want to see this team grow in regards to being a competitive team on the road.
Yeah.
We're going to talk to our buddy Bengie Molina, aren't we?
In a minute. I was trying. There's a group text going on that I was trying to get Rocky's attention about this, but yes, so, Bengie is we're working on getting Bengie currently right now.
With that being the case, I want you all to know about the Fenton Bar and Grill on Rudder Road in Fenton. You talk about delicious food, just mouth-watering food to savor. The trashed wings at the Fenton Barn Grill are the best trashed wings that you'll ever have. They're the best in St. Louis, and you need to try them out. Stop by Fenton Barn Grill on Rudder Road in Fenton. Say hi to the 2024 Maitre d' of the year in St. Louis, Chuck. Chuck is the manager over there and the maitre d'. He does amazing work, and you'll really enjoy. Oh, look at that.
Hey, we got video of this.
That
This is
signature
gorgeous.
golden sauce. How about that?
That is stunning.
You can also, if you are not that sort of a sauce person, you can order ranch, and you can get your wings with ranch too. As a matter of fact, I like to go that way. They have a fabulous menu, fabulous servers, and those trash wings right there that you see, you can get 10 for $10 Mondays from 5 to 9. Dine in for a limited time and get those 10 for 10. It's an amazing deal. Plus, enjoy ice cold domestic bottles of beer for just $2. And the servers are going to treat you like you're special, because you are. Every single time you're there, you're going to be doted on by the servers at the Fenton Barn Grill, whether it's to watch a game or hang out or have a great business lunch or a nice dinner. Whatever the occasion is, stop by Fenton Barn Grill. You can also get their huge patio. You can get that set aside for yourself for a big event. Music every Friday and Saturday night at the Fenton Barn Grill. Say hi to Chuck and all the servers when you go. Tell them Randy sent you. It's the Dive with the Vibe, Fenton Barn Grill, 2 minutes from the soccer park on Rudder Road.
That looked delicious.
It is great.
So before we get talking to Bengie, and this will be very fitting because there was a transaction that happened last night for the Cardinals, and they have optioned Luken Baker to AAA. Not Luken.
Not Luken. Luken, we hardly knew you.
Oh, man. Let Luken rake.
Yeah.
But not anymore. He's not baking anymore at the major league level. That's for
He's
sure.
going to have to do it at the minor league level.
To make some room for that, looks like Ivan Herrera will be returning, who missed a month with a bone bruise in his left knee. And the Cardinals will keep 3 catchers, it looks like. So Herrera, Pages, and Pozo. I'm not opposed to this. I know that I was a little hesitant at first, but it seems like right now, Luken Baker wasn't getting much of an opportunity anyways.
Right.
You know, he was just a right-handed bat that was going to go against left-handed pitching, and there wasn't that many opportunities for him. And they really haven't used pinch hitting that much.
No.
Like here recently.
That's one thing with
which
the
I know they
DH.
used last night, but still, like yesterday.
Yeah.
They really haven't needed a pinch hitter that much.
No. And they obviously have evaluated Luken Baker differently than a lot of fans have, because a lot of people believe that Luken Baker can be more than a 4A player, you know, better than AAA, but not quite major league quality. But he's 28 years old. And like you said, he wasn't getting an opportunity here, and maybe he'll be served elsewhere. And I don't disagree with the Cardinals, by the way. Would you rather have Herrera on the roster? I don't think there's anybody on this roster right now that of the 13 position players where I would say, yeah, I'd rather have Luken Baker on the roster than him.
Yeah. And we'll touch on this more with Bengie, because now Bengie Molina joins us, our friend and Cardinals broadcaster. Bengie Molina is joining us on the show right now. Bengie, how are you doing this morning?
How you doing? How you guys doing? It's always nice to be in your show. Can you guys hear me good?
We can hear you.
We can hear you. Yeah. It's great having you on, Bengie.
Cool, because thank you. I got kicked out of my office today. The house is packed up, and I don't have my office, so I have to do it in my kiddo's room. So, but I'm happy to be in the show. You know, you guys know that. Anytime you guys need me, I'm here.
I love your 42 hoodie too.
Oh yeah, baseballism. You know, they hook it up, so it's very nice. I need to go back in there and get some more stuff.
Yeah,
it's awesome. Well, thank you, Bengie, so much for taking the time to join us. We always love chatting with you. And we were just discussing a transaction that we saw last night. The Cardinals haven't made the official announcement yet, but it looks like they are going with 3 catchers. So Herrera should be returning soon after being gone for a month with a bone bruise. And then you will have Pages here and Pozo. What do you think about them keeping 3 catchers on the roster right now?
The only thing I can think of, guys, is that it would have been really tragic to send Pozo down. I think Pozo has done such a great job. Pages too, obviously he's been battling it out there with the pitching and with the hitting and all that stuff, doing a great job. They both been doing a great job. More than anything, for me in my heart, I think it would have been tragic to send Pozo down. He's done so great. He's done really good with the pitching. And I say Pozo because we know that Pages is not going anywhere, right? So, but Pozo, I think Ivan could be DH2 at times. Ivan could catch at times, but also has shown a lot of heart out there. I think Pozo can hit. He will swing the bat very well, and he can catch and throw. So all of the guys that I talked to on the pitching staff and stuff, they told me that they said many times that Pozo have done a great job staying on the same page with the pitching. And that's what I see from the top. I see a lot of good games when he catches.
Bengie, what do you think Ivan Herrera needs to do to become a good, at least an adequate defensive catcher?
It is really difficult because it could be two things. It could be that this is who you are, right? Like this is who you are as a catcher, but also strengthening his arm, for example. How do you do that? You know, like you go out and work out, you go long toss, you can strengthen your wrist because you can whip the ball too. But it's hard to tell. So maybe that's just who Ivan Herrera is as a catcher. And we have to deal with what he is instead of trying to make him be somebody, you know, or get him better on an area that he's not. So, I mean, I think he's a great catcher behind the plate. Obviously, the arm is a little, you know, like, you know, normal. It's not like a big cannon out there, but maybe he can start working out on his arm. Maybe he can start doing things that get that arm stronger, you know. But do we want to do that and risk an injury on a shoulder or an elbow, or do we accept that this is Ivan? This is who he is. He can rake. He can hit that crazy. He catches good. He blocks everything, and then we deal with it.
When you were talking about discussing things with the pitchers about what they liked about Pozo and Pages and the catchers in general, what is it that the pitchers just really like to see from the catchers?
Well, there's many things that could be happening. The positive side of it, maybe they talk very positive to each other, pitcher and catcher. The way that they move behind the plate, the way they do the target, the way they are in the same page, the way they're not shaking off pitches so much, that helps a lot. Obviously, the success of the pitchers with certain catchers, that tells a lot too. So I think they really are in sync with these catchers. Even Ivan, we just haven't seen him in a month, but with Pozo and Pages, they are in sync. They really are. They love throwing to these kids. In and out, like I always say, in and out, up and down, in and out, up and down. And that's what they do. And I see it. You can tell these guys are in tune with the pitchers are in tune with these catchers. They're doing a great job.
I was going to say, when you were talking about pitchers having to shake off things, we never saw that much with Yachty, with your brother. I felt like the pitchers were spoiled for so long just having Yachty behind the plate calling the game.
They trusted him. They trusted his work. They trusted his mentality. They trusted his being a veteran. They trusted him watching videos of the hitters. They trust all that. So when that comes in, all you got to do is take the sign and pitch. You know, because you trust what he's calling is not off target. You know what I'm saying? So they trusted that. That's what made it that way. But it didn't take Yachty little time. It took him a bunch of, you know, a lot of time to get to that point. And the pitchers bought in. They bought in, man. They really loved the way he called the game, and he kept doing it wherever he was.
Do you when you and Yachty and Jose were all playing at the same time, when you guys would get together during the offseason, did you compare notes? Did you kind of did you share the information that you had in terms of what you're talking about, managing a game, dealing with pitchers, those sorts of things?
We always talk about baseball. Always. It has nothing to do with numbers. It has nothing to do with homers or RBIs or none of that. It was more, how can we make ourselves better so we can help others be better? And that was always the conversation. Jose, nobody talks about Jose a lot, right? Because he's not around. He's in Mexico. He's not in the United States in a team. But for me and Yadi, Jose is the most smart guy that we have as a brother.
Wow.
He's a very smart kid. He's very great behind the plate. For me and Yadi, Jose was the best catcher. But nobody mentioned him. But it's just his mentality. We don't talk much about baseball when we're together. We play dominoes. We have fun. We karaoke at times. But the game, it's not a theme that comes up to us very often. We know what we have to do. We know we have a job to do. We help each other. We help each other a lot. Like I got conversation with Yadi and Jose that they told me, hey, you're doing this, you're doing that, and you got to change this. Watch out for your left knee. Watch out for your glove. You're dropping it. You know, things like that. It's always a conversation. But in the off season, we try not to touch it. You know, my mom does that a lot. My mom, my mom is the one that talks about the game and you remember when you struck out, and you're like, Mom, why don't you remember when I got a hit? You always remember when I struck out. So, you know, my mom does that talking.
So when you three are playing dominoes, you, Jose, Yadi, when you three are playing dominoes, who's the most competitive of the three? Who just hates to lose the most?
I think Yadi is the most, you know, that doesn't like to lose. I think Jose is right behind him. Like Jose hates losing as much, probably really close to Yadi. And then you have the guy that's probably in the middle, like trying not to let them cut their heads off, you know, like here's me, like, hey guys, this is just a game, this is just a domino game, you know, and let's take it easy here, let's take another drink, things like that. So, but they are very, very competitive.
Yeah, I would definitely say so. Speaking of your family, Bengie, we heard the great news that Lin-Manuel Miranda is saying that he's working on a Molina Brothers movie. So can you give us any insight into what this movie will kind of entail? I know that when you hear Lin-Manuel Miranda, the first thing you think of is musicals. So I have to know if any music is involved with this.
The music is gonna be involved. It's not a musical, it's a straight shot movie. The music is gonna be involved because he grew up right next to our street. Lin Manuel did. He grew up right around us, so he knows the culture. He knows what we're about. He knows what my dad went through. It's a little bit about the book, but it's more like a tribute to my mom and dad, and an inspirational kind of movie to inspire parents out there to take care of their kids, to give them their time, and you know, so it's gonna be an unreal movie. I think Lin Manuel has one of the brightest minds, brains out there. I mean, he is such a smart kid. Even when you're talking to him, you're just staring at him like, wow, you know what he's saying, and we all know who he is. But it's not a musical. I got that question a lot, but it's a movie, and I really do believe that he's gonna be one of really good movie.
Did you get to pick who represents
I
you in
I
the
couldn't say
movie?
much.
Dang it. I know I'm going to keep pressing you about it, but I'm just always
Uh,
curious because when people say like, oh, if I had a movie about myself, I would pick like, you know, they always pick like the best looking celebrity
Yeah,
out
right.
there, like Brad Pitt or Angelina Jolie or something like that. I didn't know if you got a hand in like saying, yeah, this guy kind of looks like me.
well, Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise called me right away. They wanted to be me, and I told them no. You know, they're too old right now. Denzel Washington, Denzel Washington called me, text me. Will Smith called me and text me. I said, "No, man, you guys too expensive." You know, so they have a list. Actually, seriously, they have a list, and you know, Lin Manuel have done so many musicals and movies that he has a lot of people. He brought up some names to do the movie, but I don't know them personally. They might not be name guys yet, but I bet you anything they'll be good. Probably after the movie, but we have ideas, but we just don't know yet. It has to be somebody. I don't know if it has to be somebody that matches me. You know, I don't know how that
Denzel.
works. So we'll see. We'll wait.
Yeah,
Denzel, hey, that's the key. Yeah, I told him Denzel, but he's too old now. So we'll see.
How did because Brooke and I are never going to have movies made about us. How did you react when you heard that? And it wasn't just that
You
a
never
movie was going
know.
to be
You never
made,
know.
right? But Lin-Manuel Miranda, Hamilton, In the Heights, all of these great things, and obviously a guy that knows the culture. How did you react when you heard that he wanted to work on a movie about you and your family?
This is all about Diane Navatoff. Diane Navatoff out of LA and New York. She is the one who's been with me the whole time trying to make this movie happen. So she happens to know a friend of Lin-Manuel. So she got in touch with him and said, "Hey man, these movie is gonna be about a culture. It's gonna be about Puerto Rico. The one who actually made that happen with Lin-Manuel. And Lin-Manuel, as soon as he heard Diane say this is the Molina brothers and it's gonna be about the culture, it's gonna be about inspiring kids and stuff, he jumped in. I don't remember having a second conversation with him. He jumped in right away. I'm in. I'll do it. And that was super cool. I mean, knowing Lin-Manuel, how much of a success he's had over his career, and all of a sudden you have that guy on your side. I mean, it's super, super amazing. We're super thrilled. But yeah, Diane Navatoff, she worked with Pixar and all that stuff.
Wow.
So the movie is going to be represented by Ryback. Ryback is going to be the company that's going to get the movie. Disney, obviously, with Disney, it's going to be in charge of the movie. So it's going to be a super cool, funny. It's going to be crying in there. It's going to be, laughter. So it's going to be super, super cool.
I'm looking forward to it. Oh, all right. I want to get back to baseball here. You played on a world champion. You played on another team that won a world championship, but you left that team and went to a team that went to the World Series. And you had varying degrees of success on the road. How does a young team learn how to win on the road, and why is it so difficult?
Wow, it's really too early to say. I think so. It is very difficult. I don't know. I don't remember a team that I participate that we had that. Sorry, I think I lost you guys, but
yeah, we got you back now.
Yeah, we got you back.
Okay, so yeah, you had started talking about you don't remember playing on a team that had this level of struggle on the road. Can you hear us, Bengie? Oh, this is a live podcast here.
This is what happens when you go live.
Yep.
It's okay.
Yeah, it's kind of like,
Aww.
It's a live podcast. We'll get Bengie back. We'll get a good connection because I want to find out how this team, and maybe it starts tomorrow night, becomes a good road team. There's got to be a reason that they're so successful at home and they just haven't been able to put it together on the road.
Yeah. Oh, it looks like we might have gotten Bengie back.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go.
There he is. All right.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah, no problem,
No
Bengie.
problem.
Okay, so you had started the answer with how does a team learn how to win on the road?
Let me tell you this. I think it's very difficult to say how and pinpoint one thing that is going to help. Because here's the reason. Because if you have the pitcher throwing great games, 5 innings, 6 innings all the time, you're going to have a chance. If you got guys scoring 4 or 5 runs every time you go out there on the road, you're going to have a chance to win that game. So to pinpoint one thing, I don't think it's fair. I think it's more of going after the next road trip and trying to do better. And then the next road trip, trying to do better again. I don't think there's one thing that you can point out and say, hey, this is how it's going to happen, and this is how we're going to get better. I really do believe that this team has a heart. I really do believe that they fight. They've shown it. The guys have beat up on really good pitching. Nola, Wheeler, you name it. I mean, good pitchers at home. So even Skeens. So I think on the road, I really do believe that they need to stick together. That the very simple things needs to happen for us to win games, especially on the road. If you don't do the little things that get me over, the getting me in, the bunting at times, the hit and runs at times, which you don't see much, but all those things are very important for you to win a game, not on the road, any game. So I think it's very difficult to pinpoint. My opinion is that I think they need to keep going after, keep fighting these games out there on the road, and keep trying to get themselves better on the road.
Last question I have for you, Bengie. 5 straight wins for the Cardinals right now. Why do you think, if you could pinpoint one thing, why do you think, or what is leading to these 5 straight wins that we're seeing from this team right now?
I think everything is clicking. I think the pitching has been great. The defense has been playing unreal defense out there. The energy level that they bring to the field, they're hitting on time. So anything that is out there, what I see a lot is a lot of energy from these kids. They don't care who's pitching. They don't care who they're facing or playing. They go out there and they really, really battle with you. Like, I mean, it's fun to watch from top to bottom. It's really, really fun to watch these games lately because they steal bases. They take the extra base. They put the ball on play. They do all the things, and then they pitching well. So, I mean, everything is clicking right now, and I really do believe they're really, really exciting team to watch right now.
And last thing from me too, Bengie. The young pitchers are doing a lot of great things. We saw on Sunday night the great performance from McGreevy. We've seen Graceffo get his first major league save. Going back to that Angels team, I've asked you about K-Rod before. Lackey was a rookie on that team, especially because you've been through it. Do you have any worries at all about pitching young pitchers in big situations?
They will tell you themselves. I really do believe that we don't have to look for it. We don't have to pay attention to it. They will show you what they can do. They will tell you, Levy, pitching the way he has been. What is he doing? He's showing you that he belongs to the rotation. McGreevy's doing the same thing. Every time he goes out there, he's showing these guys, hey, listen, I'm at the door just in case something happened. I'm right here. You know, so these guys, young guys, they will show you when they're ready. They will show you, hey, listen, I'm in. You know, I'm here. I'm on the mound. I'm getting people out. I got innings to prove it. I got games to prove it. So I don't think we need to be looking for anything. In my opinion, I think that those young guys are showing or will show when they're ready.
Awesome.
Bengie, we always love having you on the show. Appreciate your time today.
Guys.
Have a great weekend.
I know it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a fun weekend. After this weekend, I'll tell you what happened. Okay.
Okay. Sounds good. All right.
Thank you,
Take
Bengie.
care, Bengie. See you later.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
see you later.
you.
That's our friend Bengie Molina.
The
he
great
is
Bengie
so
Molina.
great. And it's so much fun to listen to he and Polo. And I probably get maybe every 25 words I can pick one up. I'm not strong Spanish wise.
Me
but
either.
What a fun broadcast it is, though.
It is. It's definitely worth just checking in, even if you aren't great at Spanish or, you know, even slightly proficient in Spanish like that we are. It's just great just listening to the energy from them. And I'm excited about this Molina movie. I know that he couldn't reveal much, but I felt like we got some good hints there that one, it'll be a lot about their family, which you've been able to read that book about the Molina brothers. Their parents are a huge part of everything that they've been able to accomplish as brothers on the field and off the field too. And so I love that they're highlighting that. Of course, it will be about Yadi, Jose, and Bengie, but really what their parents did to help them get to that point where all 3 brothers playing in the majors, that's unheard of, really.
Yeah, and all with World Series rings.
Which is insane.
Right. It really is a magnificent story. And I don't think that there could be a better guy to tell it than a guy who understands the culture, right? Lin-Manuel Miranda growing up right around the corner from them. That's pretty darn cool. By the way, I didn't bring up this name, but Christopher Jackson played George Washington in Hamilton. Good actor. I think he'd be really good for Bengie.
Let me look
Christopher Jackson.
So in the chat too, and there's a couple things that I wanted to get to before we get to the Graham report. One, wanted to touch on a little bit more about Herrera because I saw some questions about that in the chat about what his role will be when he returns. But also, Randy. People in the chat are trying to figure out who will play you in a movie, and I'm seeing a lot of Mel Brooks.
Mel Brooks.
How do you feel about that?
I would love that.
Okay, we got.
He rode a blazing saddle.
Somebody said Drew Carey as Randy.
Really?
Drew Carey. What does Drew Carey even look like now? I used to
He's
watch Whose Line Is It
skinny,
Anyways?
yeah.
One of my favorite shows ever.
Price is Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot he does. Does he still do
He's
that?
Still does,
yeah,
yeah.
he's slimmed down a little bit, but
Brooke, the one
I
I've
don't-
Mel
gotten
Brooks is
time and
he's like
time again
90.
over the years is Harrison Ford.
Okay.
My problem with
Yeah.
Harrison Ford makes sense. Mel Brooks is 90.
I love Mel Brooks. He
I
can play
love
me.
Mel Brooks.
He's so funny.
Wilson,
He
Mel
is quite a
Brooks
bit
is a
older.
comedian who made
He's 98
really
years
fun
old.
movies like Blazing Saddles and Spaceballs and Young Frankenstein. Hold on a second, I gotta turn your mic on.
We
Want
can't.
my
We can't
answer or
reveal
no?
who will play Wilson
yeah,
in
I want
movie.
to know what your answer
History
is.
of the World Part 1.
Never seen it.
Any of those?
Nope.
You never seen Blazing Saddles?
Nope.
You never seen
Oh my
Spaceballs?
No.
All right, I'm gonna turn your mic off now.
Yeah, we can turn that mic off.
I have 3 different copies of Blazing Saddles.
Is Blazing Saddles the funniest movie ever made?
It's great.
It's right there, but you
I
know,
firmly believe it might.
Airplane
Oh, that's one of my
and
favorite.
Police Squad.
Airplane, I think is that Airplane has more laughs per minute. I will admit that. But
Blazing Saddles is
the
unbelievable.
thing about
But
Blazing
the thing
Saddles is it's just that in any other movie, the toll booth joke doesn't work. But in that
Yeah.
movie,
oh.
it has me on the floor every single time without fail.
Oh.
And then the very ending of the movie, no other movie can pull off that kind of like fourth wall break to the level that Mel Brooks
Yeah.
can.
So
Yeah, I think so. It's very interesting. Christopher Waltz is another good
Christoph
one. for it.
Waltz as Randy.
Christoph.
would
Oh,
be-
Christoph Waltz.
Oh,
Sorry.
yes.
That's an interesting one. I
Christoph
don't know.
Waltz, Randy. Do you know who he is?
no.
Hans Landa from Inglorious Bastards.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
or
good.
or the dentist bounty hunter character from Django Unchained.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh,
That's Christoph Waltz.
Okay.
Hans Landa is the Jew hunter detective
Yes.
character in Inglorious Bastards who does everything with the bastards.
Talking with the Soul says Ryan Gosling is Randy Karraker. Well, because you have to have, if it's a movie about you, you have to have a young version
You know
of
what?
yourself, and then maybe maybe you have what's his name be the older version because he's 98, like the way older,
Mel
even
Brooks?
older than yes.
I got
Because
Do you guys remember Christian Bale as Dick Cheney?
Oh yes, I've never seen that.
I can't believe that movie you've seen, Wilson. Jesus Christ.
no, I don't think so. I don't. I'd have to look it up.
That I'm choosing Christian Bale as Randy Karraker. Yes, Google Christian Bale as Dick Cheney. It's an unbelievable makeup job, and I firmly believe he'd kill it.
I used to be really good at shooting a gun, but I lost my nerve. Matthew, you got to play along here.
Okay, sorry.
Lost my nerve. Supposed to say solid as a rock,
Solid as a rock.
but I shoot with this hand.
Oh my gosh.
I always
Oh
forget
my
solid. I forget he says solid as a rock. I just love it. But I shoot with this hand.
Oh, hey, we want you to know there's a lot of cool stuff coming up in the area. And one of them is the STL Sports Show. The 2025 STL Sports Show takes place at the Doubletree Hotel in Chesterfield on Friday, May 30th through Sunday, June 1st. Autograph signings from stars such as Grant Fuhr, Ryan O'Reilly, Roman Berkey, Armand Membo, and many more, plus tons of vendors with trading cards and memorabilia. Just go to stlsportshow.com to find out the schedule and all of the information. VIP packages and photo ops are available for most of the athletes that are going to be there. Plus, right now, use this code SHOW15, and you can get 15% off tickets for Fuhr, O'Reilly, and Berkey. It's the 2025 STL Sports Show, Friday, May 30th through Sunday, June 1st at the Doubletree Hotel in Chesterfield, stlsportshow.com.
Ooh, that was a great read, Randy.
Oh, thank
10
you.
out of 10. So
Appreciate that.
wanted to get back to, just because I saw some comments in the chat about this, about Ivan Herrera, because we've discussed this. Ivan Herrera, his bat is not an issue whatsoever. And it's great that he's coming back. So if you missed that earlier, it looks like when the transactions is happening is that they're sending Luke and Baker down to AAA. And that means that you'll have Herrera, Herrera, Pages, and Pozo here. So 3 catchers. But we kind of heard Bengie mention there that it seems like they're already preparing for him to be the DH, which is something that we've discussed, is that what happens when Herrera returns? Because Pozo honestly has done a great job behind the plate. He can hit. Pages clearly has the trust of the pitching staff, and he is the go-to guy behind the plate. How are they going to navigate this with the catching role? Are we going to see Herrera spend less time behind the plate, you think, as he comes back?
Yeah, I think he'll probably get the majority of his time at DH. My guess would be that ultimately Pozo doesn't see an awful lot of time either. I would think that Pages will get the lion's share of the time behind home plate. They're going to have a log jam, though.
We're back in that DH log jam,
right,
aren't we?
Yeah, because if with the way the roster is currently constituted, it's what you want to do is you have Arenado. You want to have, if you're the Cardinals, Arenado, Wynn, Donovan, Contreras, right?
Mm-hmm.
And for his defense, Pages behind the plate. Victor Scott is your center fielder. Newt Barr is your left fielder. You know that in right field, Jordan Walker is going to get that time. So you've got Burleson, you've got Pozo.
Who's heating up. Burleson's starting to heat up.
He is. Pozo, Herrera. You've got some extra guys around.
And the way that Herrera performs at the plate, I almost want him in there every day.
Yeah. And then Barrera. He a homer and a double in his game the other night. So they have, and I don't know that they're dead set on getting at bats for Barrero, but the other 3 you definitely want to get at that. Well, I don't know about Pozo. So let's just say, do you have a platoon at DH with Herrera and Burleson, and then kind of fit Burleson in when you get a day off for Contreras and maybe I forgot Gorman.
And then, that's what I was going to ask, because Gorman, of course, is something that we're talking about. We've seen him struggle at the plate. Mm-hmm. Strikeouts continue to be an issue for him, which has been the theme. And I know a lot of people are talking about, all right, send him down. You got to figure out to get rid of this guy. But this is the whole point of the season. It's the runway season. So with Nolan Gorman, you have to get him in there. But if you're talking about competing and making sure that Herrera gets playing time, he needs to be your primary DH.
Right. But one of the things that they did last offseason that was going to lead into this season is when they went through the cast of characters who had the chance to be a hitting coach to replace Turner Ward, pretty much everything was geared towards, okay, how can this guy be perfect for Gorman and Walker, right? Mm-hmm. So Gorman spent his offseason basically with Brant Brown. It wouldn't make sense for the Cardinals after what they did to hire Brant Brown to make Gorman better. Not that he's gotten better, but it doesn't make sense to try to send him down and use a coach who wasn't specifically hired to make him better, to try to make him better. You know, and by the way, other people are getting better under Brant Brown. But at some point, they're going to have to make a decision with a guy like Gorman, and it looks like it's going backwards. And I don't know if we talked about it I don't even know if it was yesterday, but in talking to Ali Marmol last week, I said, do you want to get these guys back to where they were in 2023? He said, no, that's the worst thing we can do. We want to try to move forward and get these guys to be comfortable and make the adjustments because pitchers have adjusted to them. He said, Walker's actually doing a pretty good job, even though the numbers might not reflect it. Walker is doing a pretty good job of being able to adjust to what the pitchers are doing to him. And Gorman is a step behind, but they are not completely dissatisfied with the progress of Nolan Gorman. Are they thrilled? No, but they aren't completely dissatisfied either.
I'm glad you took that exactly where you did, because as we were talking about the DH, I decided to look up the numbers. We finally have a home run, by the way, from the DH
Thank
spot.
You, Alec.
The DH no longer has the worst OPS or the worst batting average for positions for the Cardinals. They now have a 557 OPS and a 204 batting average. The right field spot has a 551 OPS and a 185 batting average.
Yep. So, and here you are, you're 6 weeks into the season, so it's kind of getting away from you. And you wonder if the Cardinals, clearly they haven't made a final decision yet, but at some point, right, and maybe it is after the season, but at some point they have to say, okay, either this guy has a chance to be able to play or he doesn't.
I think that's the whole point of the season, is that you just have to let it play out the entire season, because we also don't know what will happen with Arenado at the trade deadline, what those prospects will look like, if he's more willing to move at the trade deadline this time, because he still has a say in what team that he goes to. If you're able to work out a deal, that opens up a window a little bit more for some more playing time for Nolan Gorman. So what exactly does that look like? Is that something that's going to help him? I understand that it's hard watching these guys struggle, but that's the purpose. I don't want to see them sent down just yet. Is that going to be helpful for these guys to send them down right now?
No, they're beyond that point. And I think that if you were going to find one reason that Jordan Walker got ruined, it's sending him down both times when he faced adversity in his rookie year, and then last year when he faced adversity after he had come off of a great stretch run to 2023, and then you decide 2 weeks in that you don't like what you see and you want to change his launch angle and stuff like that. It was nonsensical. So if Jordan Walker doesn't make it, I think that we could probably look back at the Cardinals as much as him for his lack of success.
We talked about it. How many hitting coaches has he been through in just his short time during the majors? At 22 years old, he's already experienced 3 different hitting coaches. And I know
4,
that,
right?
Well, 4, yeah.
Because you had Jeff Albert, Turner Ward, Brant Brown, Jim Evans.
Yes. Oh, where is he now? Where is Jim, by the way?
Nashville.
Is he in Nashville?
Yeah.
Okay.
He moved to Nashville.
Sorry, we're not trying to dox you, Jim, where we're outing where you're at right now, but apparently he's not here anymore. He really left. He really flew the coop a little bit there. But yeah, you're right. There is a lot of hitting coaches involved. And some people say, does that really matter? It does, because that's a lot of different voices and a lot of different philosophies that you have to deal with at the plate, where if you're wanting to say, okay, I want to be a major leaguer, I want to stay every single day, then you have to be able to follow those philosophies. And he's talked about that in the past. He's been open about how difficult that's been at trying to put it down to one singular voice in his head instead of all that noise surrounding him.
Yeah. And you wonder how long that takes, right? It's at some point, all of that stuff has to go out the window, and you either have to do it or you don't.
Yeah.
And I hope he does.
That's the thing that freaks me out with Nolan Gorman and Walker.
And he hits the ball hard. That's the thing.
And so can Gorman when he makes contact.
Yeah.
When he makes contact.
Yeah. Here's an interesting note, by the way, about Nolan Gorman. This is a story that Saris wrote. He knows everything about baseball, if you haven't read his work at The Athletic. And he wrote this. What's wrong, Matthew?
Randy's being catty because Saris is a big numbers guy. Just a little context for your statement there.
I feel like we could pick up on the slight cattiness. There's always like a little.
I had to explain why, because usually he takes a shot at Dom Lucian, who's the Athletics hockey numbers guy.
Expected goals are way better than real goals.
Expected goals.
Today he is now mad at the baseball numbers guy, Saris.
Well, but this is a legitimate one.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yes.
He writes. Nolan Gorman's bat speed is down more than any other qualified hitter, all the way to the 29th percentile, down nearly 3 ticks from last year when he was in the 70th percentile in bat speed. He says bat speed does a good job of describing raw power, though, and Gorman isn't a small sample size prospect anymore. If there's hope, it's that he's still getting barrels, 64th percentile, and not chasing, 86th percentile. So maybe this is just a blip. On the other hand, Gorman has some flaws. He doesn't run well, the defense is inconsistent, and he doesn't put the ball in play a lot. If the Cardinals player isn't going to have plus bat speed, those flaws are only going to get more attention. One thing I wonder is this is an issue that Nolan Arenado ran into last year too, and he improved his bat speed during the offseason. I wonder if there's something that Nolan Arenado knows that he could utilize and pass along to a guy like Nolan Gorman and say, here, take my job.
Well, here, take my job.
Nolan Gorman gets some bat speed going.
Yeah. Could he be slowing down his swing not to strike out more? Do you think that's what it is?
I think that's absolutely a possibility.
Okay. That's what I was wondering when you say that. I wonder, could he be slowing down his swing to not strike out as much? Which, I mean, I know a lot of people say, well, he's still doing that. But you had mentioned this before, and I think this is a really interesting note on Nolan Gorman going into this season, is that he has his own specific hitting coach, doesn't he?
He
guy
did.
That he goes
apparently
to.
He has he's moved on from that guy.
Okay.
And he and Brant
just focusing
Brown
on Brant Brown.
Yeah, they were joined at the hip. Gorman has a batting cage in his backyard, and apparently Brant Brown came over to play in the backyard like every day during the offseason in Arizona.
So they have been working together for a while.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder if that is part of it, and that could take some time to be able to work out.
And you think about all the voices in the head, okay? Think about him, Brant Brown, saying, okay, when you go to the plate, you have to make that choice between being a slugger and a hitter. I wonder, to your point, Brooke, and it's a great one, maybe Nolan Gorman is going up there thinking as a hitter too much and not a slugger enough.
I just can't believe we have to like continue to have like a serious conversation after you use the phrase he came and played ball in the backyard every day in the summer or the winter. Like you're using a phrase that is usually used to describe the activities of 12-year-olds.
Yes, exactly.
And now we have to sit here and have a really serious debate about, well, when Brant came over and played in the background with Nolan every day over the winter, was it successful? It's a ridiculous candy store thing we do every day. And sometimes we say a phrase and it really just like sticks in my brain just how ridiculous this is.
Okay.
So your mama says, is there a dip in his bat speed with no strikes? You wouldn't be slowing it down with no strikes.
You wouldn't think so, but I didn't break it down that much. Saras can.
he's the guy to go to for that. Oh, Randy.
Yeah. GB, this is Gorman. He's over 1,100 at-bats. 1,100 at-bats. So, yeah.
My issue with that is, and why we're having this conversation, is that who he was at bat 600 and who he was at bat 900 is so wildly different. That's why everyone's confused. That's why this season's such a big deal, is because this isn't like we were taking a guy who had 3 straight years of a 38% strikeout rate. One year he had 31%. One year he had like 28%. One year he had 38%. When you're dealing with these wild differences, there's a reason to question even within the sample size, because which sample size are you taking? Is he 100% the player he was at 25 as opposed to the player he was at 24? I would argue that no, he isn't, considering that right now, I'm pretty sure his strikeout rate is in the low 30s, high 20s right now, which would tell me that he is more the player he was at bat 600 than he was at bat 900. That's why this whole thing is so confusing, and why the Cardinals decided, was it 3 weeks ago when Katie Wu reported it, that they were going to find at bats for Nolan Gorman and give him that runway, because they needed to figure out which Nolan Gorman was the real Nolan Gorman.
And I think a lot of people fixate too, and rightfully so, on the average. And so what he's hitting right now, and it's like 182. I know it's below 200. It's like well below 200 at this point for him. And I get that. But I feel like with Nolan Gorman, is he a guy that you fixate too much on average, or what is it that you're looking for?
Yeah, the Cardinals don't worry about batting average. That's not how they evaluate hitters. So they would like him to get that OPS back to where it was a couple of years ago at 805.
Yeah.
When he didn't have as many at-bats and he was a better hitter.
Yeah.
He had 27 home runs 2 years ago.
I think, and maybe this is just me, and I have like a soft spot, because we know for a fact that the Cardinals got away from developing their players. They admitted it. That's why they're spending all their time and all the money and resources now on getting back to developing their young hitters, their young pitchers. And so maybe this is just like a me thing where I can't just give up on a guy just yet. Even look at Matthew Liberatore for an example. Okay.
People wanted to DFA him.
Remember everybody, what has been the talk for years about Matthew Liberatore? Oh, the Cardinals lost the Randy Arozarena trade, which that's still something that could always be debatable. But people are ready to give up on Matthew Liberatore. People are ready to DFA him, send him off, get rid of this guy, or just have him be a bullpen piece. And then look what happens when you actually give him the right opportunity, the right chance. And now you wouldn't want to give up on him. And now it's a question mark that you can check off as an answer for the starting rotation, and hopefully the starting rotation moving forward.
Yeah, that's a great example. And from the hitting side, and I know the game has changed dramatically, but a guy like Bernard Gilkey got 2,400 at-bats at the minor league level. Nolan Gorman got 1,400 at-bats at the minor league level. Bernard Gilkey will tell you that he didn't find himself as a hitter until he was 29. Gorman's going to be 25. It does take a while for some hitters to turn into the hitter that they're going to become. And I think that after this season, you might not have to worry about Nolan Gorman being a Cardinal anymore. I would be shocked if he wasn't a Cardinal for the rest of this season, but this is the evaluation process. And if he doesn't get any better and he's the same guy after 1,500 at-bats that he is after 1,100 at-bats, then my guess would be that the Cardinals will move on.
I just can't give up on the potential that we've seen with Gorman, with Walker.
I agree with you. And because I know the ability is there, Brooke. And when you look at what he did in 22, it was only 406 at-bats, 464 plate appearances, 805 OPS, 27 homers, 17 doubles. So he had 44 extra base hits, drove in 76. So I know the ability is there, but obviously, for whatever reason, whether it's him or the Cardinals, that ability isn't being cultivated at the major league level. We're not seeing it anymore.
And that's what you mentioned before, that if Walker doesn't work out, you're looking more at the organization rather than the player.
Yeah, I totally. Tony La Russa used to say that sometimes you could break a player. And maybe the worst thing they could have done, is to bring Jordan Walker into that room in 2023 and have him sit in Ali Marmol's office and Ali tell him, hey, the reason that you're going to make this team is because you've dealt with adversity. But
that's like one of, just a lot of examples. We were joking earlier about John Mozeliak calling Jordan Walker the best prospect that they've had since Albert Pujols.
Yeah.
You know, how many times in your life have you after the fact been like, I didn't have to say the thing.
Yeah.
And my life would be really easy right now if I just would have kept my mouth shut in that moment. And I just feel like there's so many moments for the Cardinals over the last 5 years where it's just
a lot.
I really wish I just would have kept my mouth shut.
Where do we even begin? The Wilson Contreras catching situation where after 30 plus, just like over 30 games, little over 30 games, they were going to move him to a different position.
I don't blame him for this one, but my favorite one will always be the fact that Bill DeWitt III maybe just isn't the most polished public speaker.
Right.
And so someone asks him a question and he chuckles.
The Martin one. Yeah.
People have not let up the fact that a person hearing a question did an awkward chuckle before the answer, which to me seems like one of the most human things that I've ever seen a person actually do who's worth billions of dollars. Because I don't actually think he was laughing at the question. I think he was just, that's what you do when you're caught in an awkward moment. You're like, okay, this is going to be a doozy. But just, there's a lot of moments where if you just wouldn't have said that, if everything just wouldn't have happened, if it just wouldn't have been on camera, but we'd be here.
You're 100% correct. But the other point that I think we need to make is, even though he chuckled, okay? He wasn't wrong. If your business plan says, right? If your business plan says, yeah, we don't care how much we make, we're just going to spend a bunch of money, we're going to spend more than we make, that doesn't make any sense. That's not a business plan. So logic, if it prevails here. So let's do this right now. Let's do this in real time, okay?
Okay.
In 2022, the Cardinals had 3.3 million fans, average of about $50 for everybody that comes through the gates, okay? This year, they're going to have 2.3 million. They're going to lose 1 million fans over the course of 3 years. So $50 million that you made in 2022 is not going to be in your pocket in 2025. Does it make sense if fans aren't coming to the games and you aren't getting that $50 million for you to spend it on payroll anyway? I don't think it does. I don't think that's good business.
I think, to Rocchio's point with it, is that maybe it's just this is newer for him to come out and kind of take more center stage in the conversations, especially from a media perspective. So you're right. From a business perspective, he wasn't wrong whatsoever. Right. Less fans means less money going to payroll. And if fans have issues with payroll, then that's the big concern there. So it's not wrong, but at the same time, the messaging was just not great because people relate more on emotional level. But Bill DeWitt III is more from the business perspective. If you've ever dealt with people from the business perspective at that level, it's a completely different way that they look at things. They're more logic than emotional.
I think what I'm getting at is,
disagree, Randy. The chuckle was a bit of arrogance. I don't know. This
is my thing. Is we immediately got the response that I knew we were going to get when we brought it up.
I have spent a lot of time around Bill DeWitt III. He's not an arrogant man.
And he's very nice. It's just that sometimes it's the messaging that does not resonate well. What do we talked about with Doug Armstrong? It's like he talks to you like how you would talk to a bar, like a friend at a bar, right?
Yeah.
It's very casual. He's able to appeal to you emotionally while it still makes sense. Some people are just not great at that messaging.
And not great at sense, because to paraphrase the quote, he said, I have to laugh. People think that if they stay away from the games that we're going to spend, this is paraphrasing, we're going to spend more on players. Well, he's right. I have to laugh at that too, because that just doesn't make any sense. If you stay away from games to send a message, that's not going to cause the business to spend more money on the product. It's going to cause the business to spend less money on the product because they don't have as much to spend on the product.
I think that it's just really alienated a lot of fans, that stuff, but then also the payroll seems to be a very touchy subject in general for the fans, because for a lot of people going out and spending, especially in this day and age and the economy. And look, the economy hasn't been perfect for a while. It's not just, this isn't a political thing where I'm saying like one was better than the other, but the economy, a lot of people, you know, when you're talking about money that you're willing to spend, I think a lot of people really, it's hard for them to spend money on entertainment. That's usually the first thing that you cut out of your budget. And so when you do choose to spend your money on a sporting event, any sort of entertainment, you want to make it, you want to feel like that they're listening to you, right? As a fan, especially as a long-term fan.
Again, I think that that's kind of a shallow way to look at it. Last year, Kyle Gibson was on this team for $12 million, right? Had a 4.24 ERA. Lance Lynn was on this team in his last year for $10 million, right? He made 23 starts, had a 3.84, 7-4 record, and the Cardinals won 83 games. Paul Goldschmidt was on this team last year for $26 million, had a 715 OPS. Granted, he's playing a lot better this year. 22 homers, 65 RBIs. Just because you spend money doesn't mean you're going to be good. The Cardinals spent a lot of money on Matt Carpenter. They spent a lot of money on
that starting rotation.
Andrew Miller
last year.
well, 2 years ago, or was it 3 years ago, they had the second highest paid rotation in all of baseball. And it didn't help them. It was the year they won 73 games or 71 games. They had the second highest paid rotation in baseball. Granted, if you're like the Dodgers and you kill a fly with a sledgehammer financially, you can do that. But you have to not make mistakes. And there are mistakes the Cardinals made that they just couldn't afford to make. The Andrew Miller mistake, the Brett Cecil mistake, the Dexter Fowler mistake, the Mike Leake mistake. There were a lot that they had to scramble back from. And so maybe what you need to do is look at the team that was in the World Series a couple of years ago, the Arizona Diamondbacks, to recognize that you don't have to spend a ton of money. What have the Guardians won recently? 12 of 14? Guardians don't have much of a payroll, and they're succeeding. If you have one of the 2 or 3 highest paid payrolls, and you can basically spend for 26 all-star quality players, you should be pretty good. But I think the Mets had a top 2 or 3 payroll a couple of years ago. They were paying 2 starters $43 million apiece. That didn't do much for them.
Yeah, I think that the payroll is just always a very sore subject for fans.
It is. Yeah, but maybe they should look at players rather than how much the player is making. Because you know what they could do? They could give Nolan Gorman right now a 10-year, $45 million contract, a 10-year, $450 million contract. It's not going to make Nolan Gorman any better.
No, he'll have more money though.
Yeah, but the payroll will be higher. Will you be happy with it? Wilson, what do you got for us?
So I want to go back on the owner and the messaging thing, because I've just noticed this from I worked in Kansas City before I came here, and I was able to meet Clark Hunt and Mark Darman once or twice in my life, and they're not great with their messaging. They're not the brightest individuals. They're not going to go out of their way to talk. Just they're not great messaging. And if you look on the other side of the state, they're having issues with convince the Kansas City people on getting them a new stadium right now. But yet, if I polled every Kansas City Chiefs fan on Lamar Hunt or on Clark Hunt, excuse me, they probably have some favorable reviews because they're winning football games and they're winning games right now, even though the fact that Clark's not his daddy, Lamar Hunt, by any means.
Winning solves everything. Winning
solves
everything. Doesn't matter how you get there. If the Cardinals wind up winning 101 games this year, like the 1985 team did, and go to the World Series, I would think people will generally be happy, especially if they win 101 games, go to the World Series, and then Mo leaves. I'd be thrilled.
I think there's a lot of Mo fatigue too,
Yeah, there
because
is.
I think his messaging doesn't resonate with people
No, it doesn't.
well at all. GB says, I don't think the Cardinals are cheap at all. It's just bad spending, which is what we were talking about. And
Mhm.
it seems like they're getting away from that now, where you have to worry about the bad spending and free agency because a lot of that stuff has not worked out for them in recent years. You mentioned the Brett Cecil contract. I mean, the list goes on and on of guys who haven't exactly panned out that you had to spend a lot of money on.
Right. And a lot of that money was spent because the Cardinals were bad at developing. And it's interesting that the worst deals were signed because they were kind of desperate. Like when they signed Mike Leake, and I think it was in November, late November, they had found out, I don't know why they found out late, but that Lance Lynn was going to have to undergo Tommy John surgery. So like within a week, they signed Mike Leake. Same thing happened with when they signed Cecil. Zach Duke had to have Tommy John surgery. So they go out and spend $30.5 million on Cecil. Sometimes the best thing to do is to let it breathe a little bit and then assess everything before you make a move like that, because there were a lot, trust me, a lot of less expensive left-handed relievers out there that could have been as good as or way better than Brett Cecil. I'll just say, I won't even say as good as, way better than Brett Cecil.
Somebody who would love baseball more than video games.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Or that wasn't their first priority. Well, I
Yep.
mean, baseball was his priority, but I think that video games definitely took a lot of
Ooh.
time.
This could be Ben. White smoke. We got a new pope.
Oh, wow.
Good.
Yeah, I was.
You get the Italian guy?
I thought that's what Wilson was going to have for us. But apparently not.
Wilson, you're supposed to be on Pope standby
Did,
for
somebody-
us for updates.
Did somebody have odds on a new pope, by the way?
Oh yeah.
I was wondering
if
yeah,
that-
they were betting on. They were
I would-
betting
I would
all
have
over
bet.
the
Was it
place.
the Filipino Pope kind of in the lead or not? I was paying
Oh,
attention slightly.
I had heard that he had a chance. Yeah.
Okay.
There were like 6 guys that were like in the odds trade.
Yeah,
I didn't know until I saw some of that.
as
That
long as the former St. Louis guy didn't win.
Dolan? I wanted Dolan to be
fine.
the guy.
No, not Dolan. Burke.
Oh,
wrong with
old
him?
Ironsides.
Yeah,
I don't know.
What's wrong with
That's-
Burke?
yeah, I
Oh,
don't know.
man.
I don't have enough time right now
So
to talk about.
there
that
was
guy.
a
Could you give me like one
Yeah.
hint of what was?
He's a misogynistic
Oh.
ass.
Okay, well, that's all I need to know.
okay. So
That's good enough of an explanation.
so
You're
I'll give you one for old Ironsides. So there was a show called Ironsides on TV. Raymond Burr was the star. So I called Raymond Burke old Ironsides, and I just got a kick out of him because he was. I got a kick out of him because it was funny. Okay, so I'm at a Catholic church. Okay, this is 2000. When did Kerry run for office for president? 04? Okay, so 04. Old Ironsides tells St. Louisans that if they vote for John Kerry, they can't get communion.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember
So-
that was the whole
What?
thing.
So I'm kind of
God, he came in.
I'm only a
swinging.
half Catholic. Okay, I went, but I'm
It also needs to be said that he followed up Regali,
yeah.
who was
Oh, he was
a
great.
gem of a human
Yeah, he
being.
was a great guy. So anyway, I'm the week after the election. I'm in church
Okay.
at the Catholic church, and I don't go up. I never go up for communion.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
But a lady, older woman, probably not with us anymore, comes back into the pew and is glaring at me.
Okay.
I don't know why. I don't know why she was. And I said, voted for the wrong guy.
Oh my gosh.
She-
Randy.
She left. You know how people leave right after communion? She
Yeah.
walks right through the pew. Boom.
And then Burke's other big thing is that he's very against girls being servers.
Oh, yeah.
Huh?
Hence why I called him a misogynist.
What do
Yeah.
you mean against girls being servers?
Like
Like-
altar servers.
Well, you
oh,
know,
I thought we were talking about like servers at a restaurant. I was like, that's
No,
very
Jesus. Yeah,
specific.
yeah,
like that is
no.
very specific.
yeah.
I
Girls,
don't know any
you know
of this.
why,
girls being
Matthew.
altar servers.
You know why.
Kendall, no.
But
stop
why?
it. No.
No, tell me
no,
why.
Stop it. No.
Why?
Randy, no. Stop it. No.
Just,
Randy, stop it. No.
What's the name of the movie?
The one about from Boston?
Yeah.
I remember what
Just
it's
watch
called.
the movie.
Oh, jeez.
What is it?
Mark Ruffalo's in it.
Michael Keaton,
Yeah.
whatever the Boston Spotlight. There you go.
Yeah, it
Spotlight.
is.
Thank you, Lex
Oh,
Luthor.
okay.
Yeah, just
Do I
watch the movie
want to
Spotlight.
watch this?
Yes, it's a great movie.
Okay.
Thank you.
You see, this is all new to me. I find it fascinating. I mean, of course I knew of Catholicism, but it's definitely a lot more prevalent here in
Oh.
St. Louis than what I grew up
Yeah.
around. So
Yeah.
this is a lot newer to me, and I'm
You
very
grew up
interested.
around Baptist, right?
Yeah, in the South, it's primarily Baptist
me tell you
and
something.
Methodist. That's
Protestants are
Church
hardcore
of
about that.
Christ.
They don't do that drinking over there.
Those 40 days when you have fish fries.
God, I love it.
I'm
I
learning.
love
I'm
one.
learning so much about this. And so this is like the first kind of Pope race that I've really paid attention
Oh
to.
yeah. Yeah, the Pope race.
Oh my gosh.
All right. Hey, I want you to get involved with DraftKings Pick Six.
Did DraftKings have a Pope bet?
They
They
did
should
not.
have.
But they're more sportsy.
Oh, come
So-
on. That's a fun one.
It is a fun one. So here's the thing: what you need to do. Let me show you what I got here. I've got this thing on my little phone. When we all have a phone, right? It's called DraftKings Pick Six, and you can go and you can pick like today. How about Kyle Schwarber going against Ryan Pepio of Tampa Bay? And you can pick him to hit more than a half a home run. So pick him to pick a home run, hit a home run. Kyle Schwarber is, I think, second in baseball. So I'm going to take him to hit a home run against Ryan Pepio and the Rays. And by the way, we're getting to Sports Scrub STL here in a moment. I can also do pitching. So like if I want to do strikeouts thrown today, let me find a strikeout. Oh, how about Yamamoto going against Arizona, more than 5.5 Ks or less than 5.5 Ks? What do we think? Let's get into consensus from the room. Yamamoto today, more or less than 5.5 Ks against the D-backs.
Less?
Okay.
Why not?
Matthew, what do you think?
I'm gonna go with he got beat up last time out, right?
He's got an 0.9 ERA.
I'm
just
gonna go with more than.
Okay.
Okay,
well,
Wilson,
can I
you're the
switch it to-
tiebreaker.
More.
All right.
I'll go
so,
with more too. I'm changing my mind.
Okay, so we just did it. Okay. So we've got Yamamoto
Same here, you got beat
with
up.
6 Ks, and we've got Schwarber to hit a home run. See, that's all you have to do. And then I can win 4.5 times more just by hitting that. Boom. We just did it. We set ourselves up for a great Pick Six with DraftKings Pick Six. It's really easy to use. Download the DraftKings Pick Six app. Use the promo code STL Sports, and you can get $50 in Pick Six credits instantly on just a $5 entry. It's really cool. It's really fun, and it'll change the way you watch games. It'll make it so much more interesting and fun. Enjoy it. DraftKings Pick Six. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 and over. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Pick Six not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. 1 per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick Six credits that expire in 14 days. Limited time offer. See terms at picksix.draftkings.com/promos.
Oh,
Who?
Ah!
Who's that? That's not me.
we're just.
That is me. Look, it's making when I make a sound.
It bounces when you make a sound.
Doo-doo-doo. I don't know.
We don't know what's going on.
It's the Grim Report.
People are trying to look. The cameras are working against us because we were trying to show you some delicious new Reeses.
Were they delicious? I haven't tried it yet.
Oh, I already crushed it.
Something-
Whatsoever. It just
yeah,
went
you-
away for whatever reason.
We were.
They don't want us to show.
You wanted to see
these
our
delicious-
smiling mugs. This is God picking. Oh, there we go.
Oh, there we go. That was
Okay, well, here we
weird.
are. So
We're
anyway,
here. Either
Joe
way, we're
Roderick,
here.
our content director, brought these in. He texted me about these yesterday. He said,
Yeah.
"Have you tried these Reese's PB&Js yet?" And I said, "No, I have not. But if I'm going to try one, I would try a grape." He said, "I'll bring some in tomorrow." So he brought us each a strawberry big cup and a grape big cup. Reese's PB&J. This is Sports Scrub STL. Brooke, what's your scouting report?
Oh, yeah, because I already crushed it while you were doing your DraftKings read. I sometimes do that because I get hungry. I get
Oh.
hungry.
Yeah, I get it. Both of you.
Yeah, both of us get very hungry during the show,
Uh-huh.
and it is delicious. It's a great mix of the jelly, which is at the bottom of it. And it's a nice compliment to the peanut butter and chocolate that it's sandwiched in
All right.
between.
Joe Roderick, what's your scouting report? You seem to like these. Here we go.
You should be. You should be. All right. No, you're not though.
Somebody said the other day I'm getting chunkier. It's
you
because
care?
of this.
I
didn't know I
the
was
the grape's better than the strawberry.
Okay.
It
Uh-huh.
reminds me, if you guys ever had Rockio had never heard of this, goobers.
Yeah.
In the
Yeah.
jar,
Yep.
the peanut butter and jelly mixed together. I
Okay.
think that's what it tastes like, wrapped inside of a Reese's chocolate.
Really good.
This seems unholy.
The whole show is apparently.
Mm.
It was good.
This is a lot of sugar. I just ate both of these and I just realized how much sugar I just consumed.
Great. Good for you. Okay, everybody going. No, Matthew's not going
I like
positive
it.
here. Matthew doesn't like it.
Oh, come on, Matthew. Really?
Am I not allowed to have an opinion?
No.
Jesus.
No,
Not the
you can have
wrong
it. You
opinion.
look like you've got a bitter taste on
I
your
know you
face.
look like somebody's torturing you over there.
Bitter beer face.
This
Well.
is not.
You don't like it?
This is the definition of doing too much.
I think it's awesome.
Is
Okay.
it just too sweet?
I'm
for you?
shocked it took this long.
Somebody
Because
should have.
they've done peanut butter for so long, you
No,
would
no.
think that
Yeah.
No,
they would have done jelly a while
I think
ago.
the correct take is, when did sense leave the people at Reese's?
Oh.
They have. This is. We should have.
Think of everything else
No.
they've put inside
This is my
of
point.
a Reese's
should've-
recently.
We should have firebombed the company
The thing is,
when they put Reese's pieces inside of the Reese's company.
They-
When
they-
they did that, we should
Yeah,
have.
that was
burned-
unnecessary because
No.
that's just
We
Reese's
should have
inside
burned
Reese's.
the company to the ground.
no, that would be dangerous for people inside the building.
I mean, I'm not saying we don't tell them beforehand.
I think that
Controlled
and
demolition.
I think we would be shocked at how outside the box
It's
the
disgusting.
people in the food industry think. Like the people that make chips and
These
candy and
sick-
Wouldn't
stuff.
that be the
Sick
best
freaks.
job on
Oh,
earth
it'd
to
be
be
the
able
best.
to
Yeah.
like come up with different concepts
These
for
sick
candy or
freaks.
food?
Yeah.
I'll tell you
that has
the
to be like I need to know like the actual
How about-
title of that job. Would it be food scientist?
I think so. Yeah.
Maybe a tester. Like, how about this? How
Food
about,
tester? Yeah.
and I'll bet you this has been tried. Chocolate covered with mini M&M's Pringles.
Huh?
what?
Pringles,
I
chocolate
would
covered.
need a design drawn out of that
Yeah.
concept.
So is
That'd
it
be
like a
fun.
Pringle with mini M&Ms on it and then
and
chocolate
then
over it?
No, chocolate covered. Yeah, so that you the kind of like a glazed donut. You know, like with
Do you ever remember the swoops?
yes, those were great.
So you're kind of
What
saying
whatever
like
happened
that.
to those?
They
Yeah,
got rid of them. Those were amazing.
those were unbelievable.
Yeah,
The,
those raised me in the early 2000s.
The next item that I am on the lookout for at the grocery store, I don't know if you've seen this, Pop-Tart is coming out with an ice cream sandwich.
Ooh,
Yes, I did see
Yes.
that. Yeah.
That'll be the next Sports Grub STL item that we try.
Do you follow Snack Beach?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
so then that's where you got your
that's
information.
where, yeah.
There's
I
a,
have been,
I
I have been
turned
on the
Randy on
lookout.
that.
I've been on the lookout for these peanut butter and jelly Reese's for months because of that account.
I
Yeah,
bought
I turned
something-
Randy onto that account,
That's
and
great.
because it's a
I
great
bought
account.
something for Sports Grub STL as well, which is not really out there, but I keep seeing it at the store, and I've never made the purchase. Have you guys ever? Because we're all avid Schnucks shoppers here. Hint, hint.
Abbott or Rabbit?
Avid, Rabbit, either way. It's right across the way. Makes it easy. Have you guys ever gotten the big Tony's Chocolonely candy bars
seen
they
it.
always have
No.
right there by the register? I finally bought one. I'll bring it in tomorrow. We'll do a Sports Grub STL on Tony's Chocolonely. These big ass chocolate
They're good.
bars. That
Yeah.
I haven't tried it yet.
Oh, you
but I
haven't
got
tried
one
it
that's like I got the everything one. It's caramel, pretzel, nougat. So we're gonna try that tomorrow for Sports Grub STL to see if Tony's Chocolonely is bringing what you should be bringing if you're gonna call yourself a Chocolonely.
I wonder if the Nestle Toll House Chipwich still exists. I think it does. Ever had
The
those?
ice cream sandwich? Yeah, you can get
Yes.
those at
Okay.
most gas stations. They have them in the.
Okay, good.
God,
Yeah.
the comments have
You guys
been-
are making me too hungry.
Sorry.
Sorry, the comments
Okay,
have
so
been-
let's move back to
The Grim Report.
the. Oh, you know what we should do before the Grim
What
Report?
should we do?
We should point out that on June 1st, we've got a really cool event that we're going
Oh,
to join
yeah.
our friends at Hot Shots for. It's going to be at Hot Shots in St. Charles on June 1st, their 35th anniversary. And you should know that Sports Hub STL postgame shows are all brought to you in part by Hot Shots, who invites you to come out to their St. Charles location on Sunday, June 1st, to celebrate their 35th anniversary. The fun starts at noon. The parking lot is going to feature the Clydesdales. Prizes are going to be given away all day. There's a darts tournament at noon, a bags tournament at 2, and then a chance to win Hot Shots tacos for a year by joining Sports Grub STL and getting involved in the taco eating contest. Congratulations to Hot Shots on 35 years. Hot Shots, St. Louis home for all the games, all the time since 1990. Find yours at hotshotsnet.com. Okay. The worst player in the NBA is
Well, if you would ask national media today, and Kendrick Perkins already ripping on Jason Tatum this morning, are you surprised? No. So we know that Jason Tatum, a lot of people like to beat up on him. They don't feel like he's relatable. They feel like he's fake. And they look for any reason to really tear down Jason Tatum. And so last night, the New York Knicks, they were able to beat the Celtics 91-90. So it was really disappointing. And all the focus has now been on Jason Tatum. Are you okay?
Yeah,
You're getting
just went
choked
down
up
the
just
wrong way.
thinking about it, because now they're 0-2 in the series against the Knicks. And a lot of people are focusing on Jason Tatum. And he had just 13 points on 5 of 19 of shooting. And a lot of people are looking at Tatum and his ability to lead when it matters most. Does anybody question, and you can weigh in on the chat too, Jason Tatum and him being a leader or a good player? Because now people are even calling a question if he could be a superstar or if he can actually be the face of the NBA.
He's already a superstar. He led a team to the championship last year. He's the best player on the best team. Those people are looking for somebody to be a whipping boy. And it's crazy to me that a guy like Kendrick Perkins, maybe he just needs to be a hot take guy.
I think he's already in that category.
Yeah. Sure. Jason Tatum was 5 of 19 from the floor last night, only had 13 points.
You guys have to realize how happy that Kendrick Perkins is that this team is failing, because Kendrick Perkins is part of the greatest reputation farm job from a one championship winning team in the history of all sports. The 2008 Celtics farm more rep off their one championship than any other one title winning team in sports history,
including the coach.
Second place is close as the 1999 St. Louis Rams. But
St. Louis what?
Is the 1999 St. Louis Rams. We farm a lot off that one championship, but we don't do it in nearly as egregious way as the Boston always does. And so Kendrick Perkins is just so happy that a recent Celtics team isn't going to win 2 championships in a row, because that would completely erase the legacy of 2000.
How do you know they aren't going to win 2 in a row?
Well, I'm saying he's happy that they're losing,
won.
because if they don't win 2 in a row, he then gets to dance around and be like, my Celtics team was the real champions. These guys are posers.
Last night, Al Horford was 2 of 11 from the floor. Derek White was 6 of 17, had 20 points. Jaylen Brown was 8 of 23. It was Tatum and Brown that in crunch time combined to go 1 for 12. I know that one player can make a basketball team, but I really don't think that Jason Tatum alone cost the Celtics a 20-point lead last night.
So Jason Tatum in the fourth quarter in this series so far, 6 points, 1 for 11 from field goal range, and 0 for 9 from the 3-point line. So Kendrick Perkins, and this is his quote, by the way, so I want you guys to react from this. This is what he said on Get Up this morning. I hate when articles like bounce away with ads. Here is what Kendrick Perkins said. He said, at some point, Jason Tatum's got to say, I'm the best player on the floor. I can't be guarded. He's one of the most elite scorers in the game today, and I just don't see that tenacity. I don't see that dog in him.
Well, we've seen it a lot. I would argue if Kendrick Perkins has watched a lot of the Celtics, and maybe he hasn't, there is a lot of dog in Jason Tatum. He's one of the 5 best players, both ends of the floor in the league. And sometimes, well, I guess we should make the point that only one team can win the game. And again, if you've watched these games, and I haven't seen 48 minutes for each one, but I can tell you this, the Knicks are playing hard and they're playing great defense. This is not just because Jason Tatum is getting a million open shots and missing them. He's being defended hard by the Knicks, and the Celtics have to find a way, there's no doubt about it, to be able to come up big in those moments. But I would argue that there are more guys on the floor than just Jason Tatum.
There is more guys on the floor, but it's always going to be the focus on who's the guy that is considered the superstar, right? And that's what you're starting to see. Lex Luthor says Jason Tatum has absolutely been slipping. And we talked about the difference between postseason guys and regular season guys. But Jason Tatum, I think a lot of people just want a reason to really just harp on him. It feels like that's been the story of his career, of where people want to discredit Jason Tatum. I also saw on social media last night too, where a lot of people were saying like, you know, this is the guy who's supposed to be the face of the NBA and that he's corny. People want to call him corny and cheesy.
Isn't LeBron James the face of the NBA? Let's be smart here, folks.
He is.
Who does more commercials than anybody
it's LeBron
else?
James. But Jason Tatum is creeping up a lot when it comes to advertising. He's up there.
To your point, it was the fact that he won the championship and immediately people got more ammo to call him corny because of how, let's be honest, how corny almost every single one of his celebrations was, and how corny he sounded pretty much every time he opened his mouth after they won the title.
I think that.
So what do you do? I wasn't.
So
I wasn't trying to be critical.
There was side by side video, and Rocky, you can weigh on this too. Side by side video of like him kind of saying similar things that other players have said in the past, and then it felt like maybe it was a little bit more scripted. This is not how I feel about this, by the way. This is what other people were saying on social media and pointing out that he's not authentic. Having met Jason Tatum in person several times, because he does do a lot of great work here in St. Louis. He's a shy guy. He's very quiet. He's very reserved. And it's almost like in the NBA, they don't like guys like that. Does that make sense? They want guys to be a lot more flamboyant at times. But then again, they also rip on those guys if they're too much of like a big personality, like an Anthony Edwards or something like that.
See, Lex Luthor says NBA superstars need charisma, and Anthony Edwards has that in spades. But Anthony Edwards says he doesn't want to be the face of the league.
But he also gets ripped on for being too much.
So maybe what Jason Tatum needs to do is to wave guns at people more.
We all know why Anthony Edwards
John
doesn't want to be the face of the league.
Why?
Because if you're the face of the league, everyone talks about everything you do in your life.
So
we already know about all the baby mamas. Go ahead and get out of the
I don't
forefront.
think he enjoys that.
I mean,
He is trying to get that one to go away.
I think we also have to remember NBA culture is a whole lot different compared to like baseball and hockey culture, where like NBA culture where you have just one bad game. They are like the haters will be crapping on you nonstop. It just happens to every player. I mean, look at Anthony Edwards on Monday. He has one bad performance against the Warriors, and next thing you know, you see AI pictures of people comparing him to Bronny James and Julius Randle getting compared to a fat guy. Like it's just very more hater mindset in NBA than compared to any other sport.
It's a societal issue that exists that people refuse to see gray, and they refuse to succumb to the fact that everybody has bad games. Every single player. I would argue all of those people that are ripping Jason Tatum. Let's start with Kendrick Perkins. You ever had a bad game, buddy? It does happen. You know, nobody's great every night.
Yeah, they're not great every single night. I just feel like they want Jason Tatum to be something different than who he is. And I think that would make him inauthentic if he was something different than who he is as a guy. I think he's just a very quiet and reserved person in general.
To hang with Ja.
No, probably not. Probably not.
Okay.
I think that might be a terrible idea. I can't see those two exactly
hitting it off.
I don't know. I feel like they're just so different personality wise. But then again, this is maybe just from what I'm seeing on social media and different things like that. But it just, you've interacted with Jason too. Yeah. He's just a shy guy. He's super nice, but just a shy guy in general.
Yeah,
and I feel like they just don't like that sometimes about him.
So, well, that's fine. It's,
what do you want him to do? Like, I wonder.
He's got a ring, right?
I think you're right, Wilson, about the hater mentality, though, in general, which I think it's not limited to just the NBA, because people, if you have like too flamboyant of a personality, then it's an issue. Then it's like, oh, who are you?
Because of Kendrick Perkins, because the NBA's hater culture is the worst within the former athlete analyst side of things.
It comes off
the
like
NFL is not great.
It comes off bad.
Major League Baseball and hockey, for the most, those guys worship the current players, the best ones in a lot of great ways. NFL, probably the best middle ground, but the NBA, undeniably, the NBA media, the former player media, is haters. Every
back
single
in my
one
day,
of them, over and over and over. Haters, and it's bled into the fan base, and I think that accentuates the aspect of it. To Wilson's point, basketball is always going to be more prominent because the way that one player can shift things, but it's undeniably the former players bake into this and make it worse.
Well, look how much money a guy like Skip Bayless made off of hating LeBron James, right?
His whole career.
Yeah, right.
His whole career, basically.
Yeah. So.
He's made a lot of money off that. Another point to that, too, is that, you think about the NHL. So Wayne Gretzky getting a lot more involved on the media side. he hypes up these guys so well. So if Wayne Gretzky, the great one, is hyping up these guys media-wise, you're going to follow suit with that, right? You don't want to be the a-hole while Wayne Gretzky is the guy who is hyping up all these people. So you see Wayne Gretzky like really he talks so highly of the players currently. He doesn't say back in my day, you know, we were doing this and that. You hear that a lot more in the NBA.
Well, and you just compare Gretzky as an analyst, Charles Barkley as an analyst, right?
Yeah, I love Charles Barkley.
I do too.
As an analyst too.
Yeah.
He's funny, but he does do a lot of the old school stuff.
But he's not ridiculous about it. He's sensible. He's not like Kendrick Perkins,
where you're just trying to put a soundbite that will get people to
Right.
click on more stories about you.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the only sport that comes close to like the hater mentality in basketball right now is soccer, especially when it comes to
nobody
American
cares.
soccer players and all that stuff.
Nobody cares about that.
I mean, that's completely different. That's pointing out
That's
one league
I'm
sucks
being
and the other
honest. I
one
mean,
doesn't.
come on, let's name one famous soccer analyst that is ripped on a famous soccer player. Let's just name one.
Alexi Lawless.
That's the famous. Let's go famous.
You said famous.
Okay, let's go famous.
Yeah, I disagree with that statement from Wilson because I think the most popular analysts in soccer are usually pretty positive about the game.
Who is considered
He's
the
not
most
popular. Everyone knows he's a curmudgeonly asshole.
What about
Who's that?
Taylor Twellman?
Taylor Twellman, he loves the MLS. He
does.
criticizes it because he loves it.
He's your guy.
At least,
You're his
at
guy.
least- yeah. He's me and him, big fans of each
Hey.
other. Me and him, big fans. We love St. Louis. We're passionate about St. Louis, and I love that.
Yeah.
But like, I just think there is always the nostalgia factor. I don't think we should. I think we
What?
also need to remember.
Jay Renegade, put this up on the
I
screen.
got you. Oh my God. Soccer is like hockey, but for the poors. Jesus Christ.
Oh my!
For the pores.
You know what the sad part is? I mean,
When you look at their
there's
contracts,
a dark,
Oh yeah,
It
there's
is
a
like-
very dark path where Jay Reinegade is kind of correct, and I don't want to get into
Jay
that.
Reinegade? I think it's
Jay
Reinegade.
Reinegade.
Aw.
He's great.
Thank
Thank you,
I think,
Jay.
but Wilson makes me want to remind us. Nostalgia used to be a disease. It used to be considered a disease back in like the 1800s because people thought that if you spent your entire day just thinking about how good your life used to be, that there was something mentally wrong with you.
Mhm.
And I'm not saying that's
You're
true.
sick.
But I'm saying is that
You're diseased.
I'm saying that nostalgia is a problem, and we see that with NBA analysts more so than anything else.
I like nostalgia.
Yeah,
I mean,
I was
it's-
gonna say Randy would be
I know,
locked
no,
away
it's-
back in the day.
Yeah.
This is why I'm not saying that the 1800s definition of nostalgia was correct, but I'm saying you can see the way that people were looking at how nostalgia can be a negative thing because we always say don't get caught up in your past. Look towards the future. That's literally what we're harping on people for, is always looking towards the past.
Well, but why would we want to look towards the future, which isn't even going to exist in 20 years?
Oh my God, Randy!
Well,
Why are you saying that?
well,
The cynicism is
I mean,
taken on.
You see,
yeah, I
this
get you.
is where Rockio's rubbing off on you too much.
oh, okay. I think
This is where Rockio's rubbing off on
Me?
you. What does
Cynical?
a rub off mean?
Negative?
Sorry, I just had to bring that up.
Look, I'm
yeah.
not negative. I'm a realist.
Oh, that's what they all say.
That's what all negative people
Yeah.
say.
Oh,
We
Great
really
job today.
poured
All,
off.
all of you on the chat, in the chat room, you're allowed. We got to come up with a name for a chat
Yeah,
room, like BK
you
and
guys-
Ferrari. What do they call theirs? A Viper Pit or something like that?
no, Snake Pit is Fastlane, right?
Yeah. What? I don't, so
BK
we'll
and Ferrario have.
we'll
a
work
name
on
for
it.
their chat?
Let's workshop a name overnight, and we'll do that tomorrow.
I called it the cesspit.
The cesspit.
When
Okay,
we
that's
were-
good.
when we were over there, I called
We're
it the
gonna do
cesspit.
we want ours to be named Sunshine Lollipops-ish. Ours is gonna be happy
Oh.
because we're happy people.
The
That would be
graveyard
such
is
a-
BK and Ferrario.
The
is what
graveyard. See,
Ellipsis
we aren't
said.
gonna do Viper Pit or Snake Pit or Graveyard. We're gonna do something fun and pithy that we can all enjoy and smile about. Okay.
Yes, we'll workshop this.
Yeah, we'll think about it overnight, and we'll do it in the chat tomorrow.
Report back to us
Yeah.
tomorrow. We're giving you homework,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah. Bernie is going to be with us tomorrow. We always enjoy him. By the way, you can always watch us again and check out our buddy Bengie Molina, except for the time that his phone checked out. But the whole interview was great, aside from that.
Yes, Benji's fantastic, and I can't wait to see that movie.
That's going to be fun. Bernie, Miklas Efredoko. It's Miklas, part of the Sports Hub STL team. Thank you, Lex. Appreciate that or Bernie Sanders. Didn't think of that.
You know, we can
Thanks
leave
for
it a mystery.
allowing me to clarify.
Yeah, there's a lot of Bernies out there. We'll just leave it to interpretation.
It's safe to say Bernie Sanders is not going to come on this show.
Why?
I don't think he would like us.
You don't think he would like us? Why?
We're not progressive enough.
Oh, you don't think we're progressive enough?
No, we need to.
I don't know, Randy. I think if you get Bernie Sanders on, you just go, Bernie, what do you like better? Expected goals or actual goals? I like real goals.
That's a good Bernie Sanders.
Yeah, my Mikolas isn't nearly as good.
Okay. I'm not Bernie is quite the weeds in STL, quite in the weeds in STL sports. Bernie Madoff. Is Bernie Madoff still alive?
No, he died.
That's what I thought. He bit
think
the dust. He
so.
capitulated. He
So that would
took the
be
dirt nap.
That would be a great get
Capitulated?
interview wise if we could get a dead person.
Referring to someone dying as capitulating is hardcore.
It is, but
Damn.
it is because it's something got him and he capitulated.
No.
So, anyways,
by
R.I.P.
the-
Yeah,
by the way-
thoughts and prayers. Bernie Madoff.
Yes.
Yes,
We were talking about soccer. St. Louis City SC played last night.
2-0.
Hey.
Right, 2-0.
Yeah, it was pretty,
Omaha.
yeah, pretty disappointing.
Didn't we get a first goal from somebody?
Yes, Joey Zielinski made his professional debut. He was a second-round pick in the Super Draft this past year.
I'm surprised that he was able to get out of Ukraine.
And then Joey Zielinski put in a volley from about 35, 40
And come
yards
over here
out
and play soccer for us.
to open up the scoring. I don't think he's from Ukraine.
Zelensky, come on, y'all know him.
He played
I
soccer
can't.
at Rutgers after growing up in Brick Township, New Jersey.
Oh.
So
That Zelensky.
Certainly.
Okay, that's different than Volodymyr.
they moved
Oh my
on in the
God.
U.S. Open Cup, which is the oldest soccer competition in America. St. Louis teams have won it, about a dozen times. The last time they won it was in the 80s. They won it a bunch in the 30s and 50s, and throughout decades since then. They now will move on to play Minnesota United in the round of 16.
Do it.
And on
We
I'll
play
just
him
be
here or
honest.
there.
There for the round of 16
Okay.
against Minnesota, but they play here at home on Saturday against San Diego.
Okay, got to
I'm
beat
not
them.
feeling great about this game.
Ellipsis 150, you have given me. I used to go home when I was a little kid and read the Encyclopedia Britannica. Now I can just Google this. Ellipsis 150. Did you guys know that there was a pope a long time ago who dug up his dead predecessor,
Yes.
put him on a fake trial, cut off his 3 blessing
Whoa.
fingers, and threw his already dead
Whoa.
body in the
Whoa.
river?
Whoa.
Oh.
Very real trial. It was not a fake trial. It was a very real trial.
Well, how real could it be if the guy can't defend himself because he's dead?
I believe, if I remember the story correct, did he have somebody like defend him?
The dead guy?
When
I
was
don't-
this?
It
How'd he
was
pay
in
him?
the 1300s. I
Okay.
want to say. Actually, that seems a
Somebody
little
said
late.
that, so
I think it was
no.
more like 900 or so. Let me Google this.
Okay,
real
well,
quick.
no, I'll Google it this afternoon. I want to know
dead
the
We'll
story.
do research on
Yeah.
this.
Pope
Yes.
held
Pope Bob.
on trial.
Pope Bob
No,
the
it's-
7th.
Okay, so bam, right.
What's a
there we
great
go.
pope name?
896 to 897. The Cadaver Synod. Pope Stephen VI had the
Stephen.
corpse of his predecessor,
Oh.
Pope Formosus, exhumed and put on trial in 897.
Okay.
Formosus, who had died 7 months earlier, was accused of various offenses, including violating canon law and perjuring himself. The trial,
Oh.
conducted in the St. John Lateran Basilica, involved propping up the corpse on a throne and assigning a deacon to speak on his behalf.
Oh, okay.
I knew it. I thought he
hired
did
him.
have a defense
He
lawyer. He
hired
did
him.
have a defense
He was
lawyer.
dead and he hired him.
Wow.
Okay,
Meanwhile,
so-
some baseball news real
Uh,
quick. Pirates fired Derek Shelton. So
No
congrats
surprise.
to the
Gets
Cardinals
swept
on
by the Cardinals.
yeah, congrats on Cardinals on getting him fired.
Yep.
That's
that'll
some-
happen.
Congratulations.
So
dumb.
We've had some Pope names like Peter, Linus, Anacletus,
There you go.
Clement.
Cletus is a great pope name.
That is.
But there
so
are some cool popes.
Telesphorus.
Yep, there you
Oh,
go. When you-
Hygienius.
Yes, the early pope names are all super Roman
Soter.
because they're all just like Roman dudes pretty
Victor.
much. So the early
Okay.
pope names are freaking
So
awesome.
I think that
So-
what they should do is because we've already had Victor 1,
Mhm.
I think they should just hire Victor Scott, and he doesn't even need to change it. He could just be Victor 2.
Oh my god.
That's a great pope name, honestly.
Calixtus. I like that. Callixtus.
Strong name.
These early ones are
Awesome. Fabian.
freaking
What would you
wild.
pick?
Good one.
Fabian is a good one. Lucius.
Fabio.
Fabio. Oh,
S-
that's a good call.
Synonius.
Oh, good. That's a good one.
That sounds sinister.
How Eusebius?
Damasus,
Used to be a major league catcher named Tony Eusebio.
Michael.
No, I'm not.
Sylvester.
Liberius.
Oh, that's a good one.
Felix.
Ah.
Felix the cat. The wonderful, wonderful cat.
All right.
Are we done?
Can I hit you guys with a little papal,
Yes.
a little papal trivia really quick?
Yeah. Saint Innocent, by the way. Saint
another
Innocent 1
Yes.
from December of 401 to March of
All right,
417.
I'm going to hit you guys with a little trivia.
Okay.
Vatican City has a representative in the United Nations.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know what the official name of the country Vatican City is called in the United Nations? Like what their official name is?
Italy.
It's not Vatican City. It's not Italy. Do you know what the actual name of Vatican City is referred to as?
I do not.
No.
Lex Luthor. If
Mm-hmm.
you're this smart, I need you to put your actual name on your name.
No,
Lex
he doesn't
Luthor
have to
hits
do
it 100%.
What is it?
They refer to as the Holy See.
SEA?
Ah.
SEE. The
Holy
Holy
See.
See is what Vatican City and the papacy is referred to as in the United Nations, and other things where it's like the official country name is the Holy See. Because there's one thing you learn in Catholicism, which is they know how to name stuff in a cool freaking way. Because technically, you know what the actual name of the Pope's job is? He's technically the Bishop of Rome, which is just like, I know Archbishop of St. Louis is something that somebody has, but like the phrase Bishop of Rome sounds just badass as hell.
It does.
It just sounds so
very-
badass. I don't
very
know what
legal.
it is. The Holy See. I'm the ambassador to the Holy See. I'm sorry. It sounds like you're doing cool stuff in the 1700s when you say that.
How about
Yeah.
if the new Pope's name is Jackson? JAXSON.
That's a
Pope
little
Jackson the One.
That's weird, right?
Yeah, you never know. Might not be a bad one. I'm trying to think of good Pope names if you're paying attention here. Let me. Oh, okay. I got
Somebody said, did the Pirates just try to pull off a Pope news jump?
it. They did.
They did.
Okay.
Is Pittsburgh super Catholic
so-
like St. Louis? Because that would 100% be something you could pull off in St. Louis.
Yeah.
No, it's actually a really smart thing to do news dump wise.
is.
Of just like having it kind of buried into another big news day.
That's
That's a
super
good idea.
smart.
It is actually.
Ellipsis tells us there's going to be a Pope Braxton, Pope Draymond. How about Pope Quinchon?
I think you can be I think a Pope name just has to be a canonized saint, I think.
They can change the rules. Okay.
But I'm saying
That's
you
it.
can
We're
find
done.
some crazy canonized names is all I'm saying.
Yeah. Thanks to Joe Roderick for bringing in the Reese's PB&J peanut butter cups. You need to try them.
Thanks.
I think we thanked Bengie Molina about 15 minutes ago.
But should we
for
do it
coming
again?
in. Yeah, thank you, Bengie. We appreciate it. Bernie Miklas tomorrow. Thank you for joining us here on the Randy Karraker Show, featuring Brooke Grimsley and Matthew Rocchio and Wilson on Sports Hub STL. We will see you tomorrow at 10:02. So long, everybody. Have a great day.